Welcome to Black Belt Beauty Radio, a podcast fueled by a passion to support your journey in developing your most beautiful and optimal performance in life. Each episode is driven with the intention to elevate your mind. When we elevate our mind, we elevate our life. So get ready. It's time to rise. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Black Belt Beauty Radio. Today's episode is another solo-sode where I'm going to be diving into one of my Instagram posts and teasing it out for you. So it could also be called an Instasode. I used to call these kind of episodes that in the earlier days. But yeah, for those of you, first of all, who are not in my Instagram community, I would love to connect with you there. I'm at Roxy Look. I'm also at Black Belt Beauty. My Instagram posts, being a writer, you'll capture this when you're in my community, but every post is very, very rich in thought, right? So when I post, I'm very present. It's not something that I've planned out. I'm really there in the moment, and my writing is really me channeling. Right. So I'm really channeling the information that I put into the captions, and the captions are usually, they're longer. And so these episodes where I get to go back and take these really, rich captions and tease them out, they have a lot of value because, first of all, people learn in different ways, right? So many of you maybe who are in my community actually could love on the post, but maybe don't take the time to read the caption because maybe the reading part isn't your thing. I get that. We all learn in different ways, right? This is why it's also very powerful for me to go back into these posts and to take these very rich captions and to present them here and tease them out, because there's, I can definitely expand on what I share, more so in these particular episodes in this format. So the one that I'm going to dive into today, the actual caption or the actual post is this quote: "You are who you practice to be. You are who you practice to be." The caption reads as follows: "Self-awareness is at the core of importance when it comes to developing yourself and your life. It's not flashy or trendy, two energies that bore me. And without it, you cannot see your true self and who you are practicing to be in your daily life. Self-awareness keeps you tuned in to your heart and mind. It keeps you awake to how you move through your days. It creates space for you to investigate, decide, learn, edit, and operate with honest intention. Self-awareness is something that you can't wear or drive in or hang on your walls. You can't put it in your bank account or be rewarded externally for it. But trust me when I tell you, all of those material and external forms of validation that arrive to an authentic soul stems from deep and strong levels of self-awareness before anything else. You cannot truly love or trust your authentic self without honest awareness of yourself. I place a high premium on self-awareness and invest daily into fortifying this priceless attribute of self-mastery and emotional intelligence. Self-awareness, for those of you who have been connected to me for some time now, for those of you who are not, welcome. It's something that, my community is very familiar with already, that I speak about often, and for great reasons that, I just listed off in this caption, and I will tease out. The thing that I really want to, I want to highlight, and I want to actually turn the volume up on when it comes to self-awareness, is this reality, this fact that, it's not something tangible. It's not this, like I listed in this caption, you can't wear it, can't hang it on your wall, you don't get to sleep in it in your home, it's not, it's something that is just simply internal, right? But it is literally one of the leading attributes to strong emotional intelligence, and it is an absolute core attribute in self-mastery, right? So, when I stated here that, any of the material things that you desire, the external validation, achievements that you desire, when I say you, myself included, we we cannot fully get these things, accomplish, achieve, actualize these things without having some kind of, strong sense of self-awareness. Self-awareness is not this, I'm being hypercritical of myself, I'm being aware of myself. No, 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 no. Self-awareness is you just being in a relationship with yourself where you get to really be the student of yourself. It's where you have the opportunity, you give yourself the opportunity to observe yourself. This is the path to learning how to understand yourself. Learning, key word there, right? How are we going to understand if we're not taking a moment or moments to invest in, you know, learning, learning about who we are in each moment of our lives, in particular moments? This is really, really powerful. Self-awareness is such a game changer when you are in a reaction moment of your life. Like, traffic is the best example, right? Because we've all dealt with it for the most part. And it's so triggering, right? And I remember for me, when I started to notice how my levels of self awareness were becoming extremely fortified, it was in moments of traffic. Back up years ago, right? Like decades. So I'm in my 40s now, right? And so go into my 20s, go into my 30s even, right? And somebody cuts you off or something happens that is, causes reaction while you're in traffic. It's your natural response, especially if it's a dangerous situation, is, you get pissed, you're triggered, you're irritated. And if you don't have levels of self-awareness instilled in you, right, you're kind of, you get hijacked by the situation. And that can be any stimulus, right? Any negative, impactful stimulus. It can hijack you. Self-aware, literally reading the news or newspaper, or does anybody do that anymore? But like watching the news or reading something on Instagram, something that's inflammatory, whatever it is, triggering. If you don't have strong levels of self-awareness, you will be hijacked, right? Self-awareness gives you the opportunity for you to decide, do you want to own those emotions or do you want to let them pass through you so that you can keep it moving and step back into your more ideal state? Maybe the state where you are more in a state of harmony and, even keeled, right? Your kind of baseline, whatever. Everyone's going to have a different baseline. But the point is that it gives you space so that you are not just moving from stimulus to reaction, stimulus to reaction. We don't want to be living that way. And unfortunately, a lot of people are, because the work that it takes to actually develop your levels of self-awareness, first of all, you have to decide that that's important to you, right? Like anything that you want to achieve or accomplish, you have to decide that this is important and I'm going to invest. I'm going to do whatever the necessary work is for me to achieve this thing, right? Decision then, puts you in the arena for you to start investing. You're committed, and then you can take steps forward, make progress, and eventually, hopefully, succeed, right? You have to decide that self-awareness is important to you. And the reason why I'm taking, you know, time and energy to create a whole episode around this is because I know that there's so much out there that's flashy and that's, this is going to solve all my problems when I have all this money in the bank, when I have that relationship, or when I have a bigger office, or when I can drive the car. I'm not saying those things are not important or needed. Go for it, please. I'm a woman of luxury. I love it. Like I love material things. I love, these kind of external experiences and validations there's value to it too. What I'm trying to say here is the inner shapes the outer. And one of the greatest components to developing your most ideal, ultimate, highest, fullest, self-actualized expression is to be very, very harnessed in strong levels of self-awareness. So want everything that you want. Just know that a key component that will actually really help you to get there is the investment of self-awareness. Something really important that I want to tease out in this caption: you cannot truly love or trust your authentic self without honest awareness of yourself. So when I talk about self, I'm always talking about authentic self, right? I'll continue to repeat that, but just for you guys who are new to me, it's always about the authentic self. And your authentic self is your it's the connection that you have with your heart, right? It's like what you truly want to say yes to in life and what you truly want to say no to. And it takes real work to turn down the volume of the external that's trying to tell you what those answers are. Um, Even by way of you being afraid, for example, of a response, so then you don't act on your true and most authentic self, right? When you start to turn up the volume of your heart, you are turning up the volume of your authentic self. When you start to operate loyally from your heart, from your authentic self, this is where you really are stepping into, this really, it's the fullest expression of you. It's the highest expression of you, right? And so, when I say here that you cannot truly love or trust your authentic self without honest awareness of yourself, it's really 1 plus 1 is 2, you know? How are you gonna love and trust yourself if you're not really being consciously aware of how you're moving through your life, like who you really are? Because the truth is that a lot of people are moving, by like a default setting, and they're not really operating consciously and on purpose, with purpose, they're not moving through their days with deep intention and conviction that's designing their life. It's just kind of like get up, go, default. And this is where, there's more of stimulus and reaction versus stimulus, pause, let me think about this, let me feel into this, and then I will respond. And this is really what self-awareness allows you to do. And every time you find yourself in these moments where you're actually taking a moment and living into that space so that you can feel what it is that you need and want to do from that experience, from that stimulus, you're also drawing a deeper connection to yourself. So it's so important to make time for you to do the necessary work that will help you to develop your self awareness. So, how do we do that? So, a couple of tactics that have worked for me, and I know to be, just universally really supportive to the majority of individuals, is number one, it's meditation. And I know that, you know, meditation doesn't come easy to a lot of people. I get that. And there's all kinds of different ways of meditation. And I don't want to turn this into a meditation episode, but I'm someone that, my meditation is definitely not quiet, but it is very still and focused. It's not quiet because I'm in conversation with my highest self. I'm in conversation with she's called my muse, right? So I'm feeling into her and I'm steadily in communication with her. But it is me filtering out the noise externally, also the noise that can go on in here. Oh, I got to do this, we got to do that, and just being very honed in on this conversation with my muse. I share that because maybe that will be how you get into your meditation, because I think there's a lot of pressure around I have to be quiet, it needs to be black blank, in my mind, like I see nothing, I feel nothing. And for some people that might be the case, but I think there's a lot of ways to go about it. The whole point is, can you sit quiet with yourself? Can you reflect even on, you know, a certain something that matters to you, whether it's like an intention for your day or your next day, if it's an evening thing, and just kind of hone in on, the feelings around whatever that intention is and how you want to show up. And self awareness is really you just diving deeper into self, observing your thoughts, observing how you're feeling, and then, deciding what do you want to own? Also asking yourself questions. But again, it's never about judging yourself. It's always about investigating from a place of real, true curiosity that is stemmed from love. I love myself. I want to learn how I can be better. I want to learn how I can grow. I want to learn how I can harness myself into more of a state of harmony. I want to learn how I could be more calm in a state of chaos. I want to learn how I can be more responsive versus reactive. I want to learn how I can be a better listener. I want to learn how I can execute more effectively. All of what I just shared with you right now will undoubtedly come when you are fortifying your levels of self-awareness, because it lends to all that, right? So this is why it's so important. Another tool that I love with all my heart and soul, that is so supportive to developing your self-awareness. In fact, this is my number one tool because it's been the majority of my life. I bet a lot of you can guess. It's journaling. Journaling. You in space with yourself. It's the best tool ever. It's you. No one's judging you. No one's going to react. Just, you can totally just unleash anything that you feel a need, that you want to put on those pages. And it's number one, removing everything from yourself, in that moment, which can feel so good. It's really, mental health and journaling go hand in hand. Like they really do. It's a form of therapy with yourself, right? But this ability to put things on paper, get it out of your head, and then be able to investigate, to go back, to, read the conversations with yourself and to learn. I can tell you because, again, I've been journaling for the majority of my life. It's incredible I don't do it that often, like go way back into my journals, but when I do, shit, it is insane to see my evolution, to witness how I really did work with myself. And a lot of times, especially in my 20s, against myself, but it's all in my journal. So I'm able to capture my progress. I'm able to capture essentially, it's not even necessarily progress, it's that, but I'm capturing myself, my evolution, my expansion, right? So meditation and journaling are, in my opinion and my experience, two of the most powerful and effective tools that will help you to develop your self-awareness levels. So I hope that what I shared in this episode really, really inspires you to, if you're not already doing it, to make time to investigate yourself from this student lens, in whichever way that feels good to you, whether it's journaling, whether it's meditating, but just taking time. And you have to be honest with yourself, right? I always say that because if you're not, like, you're playing yourself, you're never going to make any progress. Um, facing things that don't feel good, that's okay. You can handle it, because that's how you're going to make progress. So in summary here, and really to put a bow on this, is to say, I would love to invite you right now to just take a moment right now, if you can, to just quiet your mind and just feel into yourself. What are you thinking about? Think about what you're thinking about. Most people don't even realize that they can do that, but you can actually think about what you're thinking about. And that is a huge pathway to developing your self-awareness. It's one of the first things I do in the morning. Is a few minutes into waking up, I have this habit now of being able to hone in on myself and go, where are your thoughts? And here, that's an offering to you as well, because a lot of times you will find you go straight to the negative when you wake up. It's crazy that we are wired that way, but we are. So this is really an awesome way to, number one, develop your self-awareness, but number two, to, you know, put yourself in a state where you can be more intentional, where you can go, no, we're not going down that path. I'm not getting pulled into this pendulum here. I'm going to step away from those thoughts and I'm going to look over here and I'm going to focus here, because this is the energy that I want to drive myself from and through my day with. Right? I can go on and on in the subject. It's a core component to everything I talk about and I teach. Huge piece in my upcoming poetry book, Magnetic Feminine. I can't wait to put that out for all of you. But I'm going to leave this here. You can go into the show notes and read this very rich caption again. And definitely let me know if this episode inspired you in any way, shape, or form. especially around developing more self-awareness. If you have any questions, because this is real, again, it's nothing tangible. So it's real deep work. If you have questions or afterthoughts that you'd love to communicate with me, please do so. I'm all about carrying on the conversation with all of you, my community. Instagram's the best place to do it. DM me. I'm at Roxy Look. I'm also at Black Belt Beauty, but DM me at Roxy Look to get involved in this form of conversation with me. Yeah. And just, I hope that my words really, really stuck with you, because I know I want you to win. And I know for sure that this is a key component, if not the MVP, to be able to thrive from within and out in your life. And it's the only way I want to be thriving. And that's the way I want you to be thriving too. So, all right, you guys, if you have not already given this podcast a 5-star rating review, please take a moment to do so. There's a very easy link that I've put into the show notes for you. It literally takes 2 minutes, but it means so much to me and my team. We love, love, love creating this content for you. We're going to keep doing it. And the more that you guys can show up and support us in that way, the more that this show just gets out and is able to support so many others around the world. So just know you're not just doing it for us, but you're doing it for everyone else in the world who will take in the show. All right, I will see you on the next one. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode, you guys. If you loved it, please share it on your social. Throw it up on your Instagram stories and tag me. I'm at Black Belt Beauty. I am also at Roxy Look, RoxyLook. I love connecting with you guys. This is a conversation that I want to just continue growing with you guys. So if you feel inspired to hit me up, do so in that space. I always enjoy hearing from you. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so by rating it and reviewing it via iTunes. It's such supportive help, you guys. It really helps the visibility of this podcast. So I appreciate and thank you in advance for doing that. And on that note, you guys, I'm signing off with all my love and always looking forward to catching you on the next.